that pedigree to go to the Olympics in Tokyo 2020 and come back with a medal haul. But for the Paralympic Games, it's different because of our pedigree. I'll be surprised, I'll be disappointed if we fail to win at least 5 gold medals from the Paralympic Games because of what we have done in the past. So I expect Nigeria to do very well.
Okay, well, Tokyo is the first city to stage 2 Paralympic Games, having hosted the 1964 edition, when 375 athletes from 21 nations took part in 9 sports. Well, this time around, 4,400 athletes from 162 national Paralympic committees will compete in 539 medal events across 22 sports. Well, I'm sure that the athletes would, of course, be eager to do their various countries proud, not just the Nigerian athletes. Now, we know for a fact that for the Nigerian athletes, they, of course, have a way of making Nigeria proud when the main Olympics happens, and then you don't hear anything in form of a medal for Team Nigeria. We always like to wait for the special athletes, like they are called, to do Nigeria proud. All right, let's move away from the Paralympics now. Let's go talk about basketball. Well, the Tigers head coach Mike Brown, he's of course hoping to guide Nigeria to their second AfroBasket title with relatively new faces as the team battles for the top prize. The AfroBasket Championship right there in Kigali, Rwanda, is of course expected to kick off today, which is August 24th at the ultramodern Kigali Arena in Rwanda. Of course, the competition will hold from today to September 5, 2021. It's no longer news that Nigeria housed in Group C, and the lock horns with Mali on Wednesday, tomorrow, before facing Kenya and Ivory Coast for a place in the quarterfinals of this competition. On paper, basketball pundits are saying that Nigeria would move to the next phase of the competition easily. But we know that in terms of basketball, it's also improving as you are, following up your own game. Other countries are also doing the same thing. So on paper, you may have your analysis spot on that. We should have no issues going into the next phase of the competition. But then my biggest worry, Saliu, is that our big boys are not around to prosecute these tournaments or these matches. And that's my own biggest worry. I don't know whether relatively some of these guys, it's a 12-man roster. Some of them are unknown quantities in basketball. So I don't know. How do you think we're going to fare in Kigali?
I think we'll do well. In sports, when you have a reputation in a particular event, it really honestly doesn't matter which team you present. You should be able to do very well. And Nigeria is fast developing a very good reputation in basketball. It's just that we are too football conscious in this country. That's why we do not really look at the potentials that we have in basketball. With a coach like Mike Brown and the history that we have in basketball, I am hopeful that no matter the team that we present, we should do well. Remember that we are disappointed because when you look at the records, it's only once that Nigeria, the Tigers, have been able to win the African Championship, and this largely due to the dominance of Angola in particular, then countries like Senegal and others. But when you look at the things that we've produced at under 18 level in the past for the men's basketball team, you realize that it's not just the Tigers that are good. We've got a system that produces very good players. We've got a basketball league that is thriving, that is doing very well. But unfortunately, because we watch football so much, we concentrate so much on football, we don't tend to focus on the quality of the Nigerian basketball league. So I honestly believe that whichever team that we parade, we should be able to do well in the qualifiers.
All right, is it just about doing well or maybe laying our hands on the title? Like you rightly said, we won our first title in 2015, and it's a long time ago now. We have to win another because, what we did at the Olympics was nothing to write home about. This is more like another opportunity for us to redeem our image. Under Mike Brown, we've not enjoyed so much success apart from those heavy wins we've had against Argentina and, of course, against the United States of America. At the Olympics, we lost our 3 matches, and that does not help in any way for the confidence of the boys. But then these guys they are new to things. Some of them are new to things like this. We've got a couple of home-based players infused into this team. So there are talks that maybe these boys are not up to scratch. Like we said before, we have a 12-man roster, and Coach Mike Brown invited 8 overseas-based players, while 4 local-based players at one for Joseph from Kano Pillars, Ibe Aguchi from Gombe Bulls, and River Supers duo Ikechukwu Benjamin and Coco Victor were all called up for the AfroBasket Championship. I mean, with the infusion of the home-based guys, what do you make of that? And then, do you think we can win another title? Because we have to win it. We need to redeem our image.
Exactly what I tried to explain earlier. The players that you mentioned that were picked from the Nigerian Basketball League, they've done pretty well for themselves in the past. And if you do not give them the opportunity, you may not know how good they are. The same thing with football. Because some players are in Europe, you just want to invite them every time. You do not look at the quality that you have in the Nigerian domestic league. You and I were at the final of the ITO Cup at the Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium, and we saw quality. And I said, look, if Ediko tells us that there is no quality in the Nigerian local league, whether in the Nigerian National League or in the Nigerian Professional Football League, that coach does not know what he's doing. It's the same thing in basketball. Because we do not watch basketball, we do not concentrate much on basketball, we do not seem to realize that you've got some quality players. See, some of these players who will now go abroad and we start talking about them, you want them to be invited to play for the Tigers. So I believe that with the quality that we have, with the pedigree that we have in basketball, we should be able to do well. There are even no guarantees that if you invite all the foreign legion, you will definitely be winning the title. There are no guarantees that that is going to happen. We had such high hopes at the Olympics, but you saw what happened. We were unable to win a single game there after beating the United States in the pre-Olympic competition and performing very well, but at the Olympics it didn't work out. So maybe it's time to look at some other players, since many of those guys at the Olympics could not make the team. I am pretty confident that we will do well. Whether we are going to, I will not definitely say we are going to win the competition. That you should not generally say that. You could look at the quality of the team and say, well, I'll be disappointed if they don't go on to win this competition, but to beat your chest and say, oh, this team will win. Well, there have been times in the past when we have said that, because I remember looking at that team that we took to Japan 93, the team that Fani Amo built. Yes, yeah. And I just looked at that team and I said, these guys are going to be world champions. I mean, I don't see who will stop them. Maybe Ghana, because of the reputation that Ghana had at under 17 level also. But we met in the final and we beat Ghana 2-1. Before we even kicked the ball at USA 94. Some of us said this team were going to win the competition because of how good we know they were. And they went on to win. At Atlanta, before they played, the press tagged that team, Dream Team, because of the quality of the team. Boys. And we saw what happened. They went there and they won it. But you should never really just predict or say, this team they're definitely going to win. It's possible that they will go on to win, but you are never too sure in sports, because that's why upsets happen. So for Nigeria, I'm pretty confident that they will do well, but whether they will definitely win the competition or not, that's something I cannot say.
All right, this is Sports Fiesta here on KU92.7 FM. We wish the Tigers all the best. We understand that the AfroBasket will kick off today in Kigali, Rwanda, and of course the Tigers will be in action tomorrow. All right, let's go for this break. When we come back, we'll talk about we'll look at wrestling, because the Ketsuke chairman of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali, he's of course in the news, and he said some things that I think if we put them in place, it should help lesser sports like wrestling grow further. After this break, we'll come back to talk about the Nigerian Wrestling Federation. Stay right here.
Do you know that following people without their consent is stalking, and it's an offense? Don't be an offender. We give our consent for you to follow us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook at KUFM Nigeria. On Instagram at KUFM Nigeria. On Twitter at KUFM Nigeria. Check out the latest pictures and videos and catch breaking news, entertainment gist, trending issues and happenings on social media by following us at KUFM Nigeria across the various platforms. KUFM, turn on excitement.
Uncle Dentist, wetin be cavities and how Colgate take dey protect my teeth from cavities? Shey dey use comfort?
No dear, na hole for teeth dey cause most tooth pain wey be cavity. But if you use Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection take brush every day, the confirmed formula go help keep natural calcium inside our teeth wey go protect them from tooth decay.
Time don reach to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Now, the Nigerian Dental Association, they recommend Colgate.
The big leagues are back, and DSTV is the only place you can watch it all. Enjoy live matches weekly from the best leagues in the world. We're talking the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, the Champions League, not to mention the return of the Europa League. That's Salah, Kane, Haaland, Bruno, Lukaku, Suarez, Messi, and CR7.
Oh my goodness!
All week, every week.
You're just lost for words!
Nothing beats the unbeatable football on DSTV.
Honey?
Yes, dear.
I'm tired of the poor power situation. Every time I stock the fridge, I come back to spoiled food. I think it's about time we go solar.
How?
With Vertical Solar, we can have all our appliances and electronics powered by solar, and they allow us to pay small. We can pay installmentally with as low as 36,000 naira monthly, spread across 12 months.
Tell me more.
I know you like the idea of paying small. Vertical Solar range of products can power all household devices, including air conditioners and water pumps.
What are the benefits of solar power?
We are talking uninterrupted power supply, no monthly electricity bill, no more spending on generator, and no more generator noise.
I see. But how can I locate Vertical Solar?
Head now to 28 Country Home Metal Road off Ajib Junction, Sapele Road, Benin City, or Blossom Mall beside Stop to Shop stores, DBS Road, Asaba. Or you can call them on 0816-170-1105 or 0703-623-4843. You can also send them an email on info@verticalsolar.com.ng.
Vertical Solar, your lifetime power partners.
All right, this is Sports Fiesta here on K92.7 FM. I am CJ, the maestro. I've got Salih Ibrahim, the sports maestro. I've got Salih Ibrahim, the sports Ibrahim here with me. Of course, we're talking about other sports, especially on the local scene. We told you that the Paralympic Games, the opening ceremony will be today in Tokyo, and we also, of course, told you about the Tigers. The AfroBasket will kick off today as well. They've got a game slated for tomorrow, and they will lock arms with Mali, and we're hoping that they are able to get a win over Mali. Mali are usual customers to Nigeria in basketball, even in football, but then we'll see what the basketball boys are saying about the Tigers are able to make of that fixture against Mali. All right, moving in from there, let's talk about the chairman committee of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali, where he's appealing to private and corporate entities for continuing funding of the sport to sustain the historic feat accomplished at the just concluded Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games in Japan. Well, we do know that for Blessing Oboro-Dudu, she won the country's first ever medal at the Olympics in the wrestling event when she settled for a silver medal after losing to United States Tamira Mensah-Stock in the final of the 68 kg women's freestyle wrestling. And, well, we also know that the other four wrestlers were not so successful as Blessing Oboro-Dudu. But then, according to Daniel Igali, he went on to say that he has a long-term succession plan for the top athletes, without which the hope of the country achieving more in the sports will not materialize without the support and sponsorship from the private and corporate sectors. Let's quote Daniel Igali. Well, he said, "My goal is to ensure that I have a sustained succession plan for most of these athletes. This means in terms of funding too, we need to have better communication even with the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports. Of course, you know, sports like basketball have funding directly from the Federal House of Representatives from the budget, and I think wrestling deserves that status as well. So we need to do a bit more in terms of sustained funding, not only from the federal government, but we need to look at, especially with the small or little success we had at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, for us to have private individuals and corporate sponsors that will give us that assurance of sponsorship for the next 3 to 8 years. Now, the Bayelsa State Commissioner for Youth and Sports also added, so I think those are the foundations I want to lay, and once you have done that, you're rest assured that anyone coming after you will be starting on a pretty level playing field. They could not have to be climbing a very high mountain to maintain the success we've had. Well, I want to assure everyone, either individual or corporation, that is prepared to support the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, that they have very trustworthy leadership that is very responsive, and that has over time judiciously used funds that have been appropriated for any purpose. We feel that to keep up, even at the Commonwealth level, we need funding from private investors. Look at India, for instance. Now we're almost at par just 4 to 5 years ago. In fact, in the Commonwealth Games, our female team beat both Canada and India. But as we are talking now, India is almost edging Nigeria because they are funding from Tata Motors to the tune of $3 million a year. So these were the words of Daniel Igali. Well, he's of course making a couple of plans, one of which is a succession plan. So whoever is coming after him does not have to struggle. So the roadmap is he wants there to be enough money for whoever is taking it over from him. His plan is for 3 to 8 years. So whoever is going to take over from the scoring board of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, the person wouldn't be running here and there looking for funds to help the further development of sports. He also says that he is fighting alongside his board members to ensure, just like we have for basketball, that funded through the budget, through the House of Reps, to also include wrestling. What's the difference between basketball and, of course, wrestling? They are lesser sports here in Nigeria. So if wrestling is incorporated into the budget directly coming from the House of Reps, it would also help on the long term.
Yeah, and I think it's high time we looked at the sports that we have done well in recent years, and then review how we fund them. Wrestling is one sport that deserves funding. Look, you don't have to excel in every sport that you participate in at the Olympic Games or at the Commonwealth Games or in other international sporting events. You can concentrate on the ones that you have comparative advantage, and you will do well. Kenya will not bother with the 100, 200 or 400 meters. It's usually from the 800 meters, the long distance. That's what they focus on. They've won an Olympic gold medal in javelin, and it was a surprise to everybody, but they actually did it. But you don't see them bothering with these other sports, this other event. They concentrate on the ones that they know they are very good in. They are not very good in football. They play football, but not in the class of Nigeria, maybe not even in the class of South Africa and some other countries. So for Nigeria, having looked at all of this, I know we like to, participate in everything and do well. But again, while we are doing all of this, we tend to focus more on football. When you can see that in some other sports, you are doing well. If you really concentrate, you could become better in this. Traditionally for Nigeria, it is football, then athletics and boxing. But even now, boxing, we seem to have lost our way.
We didn't go to the Olympics.
We are not even qualifying for the Olympics. Now we can say that we can also do well in wrestling. We did very well. We got our biggest medal in wrestling from the Olympics. Shockingly, it is the first time that we're winning a medal in wrestling at the Olympics. So you wonder what we've been doing all these years. So for Daniel Igali, somebody who himself has won an Olympic gold medal, has been a world champion in wrestling, so he knows what he's talking about. And I think when you look at football, for instance, and people say corporate Nigeria does not want to put money in it because of some of the shenanigans, and you look at the Nigerian National League, for instance, you see some of the things going on there, and you understand why some people don't even want to invest in it. But look at wrestling. It's just positive news that we are getting. We will say the Olympics, Tokyo 2020 wasn't a good outing for Nigeria, but we got a silver medal from wrestling, which is very good. World Championship, we have dominated. Odunayo is number 1 in her category. Blessing Oboroduru was number 2 in her category, going to the Olympics and all of that. So there are so many good things about wrestling. So there is really no reason why the corporate society in Nigeria will not invest in wrestling. So I agree 100% with Daniel Igali. Let us give funding. Even the government should ensure that wrestling gets funded. And you can see that he's making plans ahead. So it's not just, I want to cover my administration in glory. So even when he leaves the scene, he's already planning ahead. He's making long-term plans. And that's how countries develop. You don't just think about the next election. You think about the next generation. You plan ahead. So that's exactly what Daniel Igali is doing. And I hope that we all support him to achieve his dream, because it is a dream that will better the lot of so many wrestlers, and then when you do that, you know that the lives of their families will be transformed, and hopefully the lives of their community. Where Blessing Oboroduru is from now, I'm sure they are benefiting, her family is benefiting from the successes that she has achieved, her community too, and all of that. So I think we should really support the dream of Daniel Igali.
All right, so before we talk about the foreign football scene, let's quickly look at this one. It's gradually turning into a scandal, sort of. Remember yesterday we briefed you on this in the evening version of Sports Fiesta. We told you about John Fashanu, who is, of course, in the news for the wrong reason in the last 24 hours. Ibrahim, talk us through that. A lot was said yesterday, but we are not so sure who said what, or because, I mean, there are no audios backing those statements up, and there are no videos also backing them up. So we're not even sure whether it's coming from John Fashanu. Yeah, but I expect that by now there should have been a denial by John Fashanu that I did not actually say this, because from what we got, I think he spoke to OJB Sports also, and then he was quoted to have said that he attempted to join the then Green Eagles squad in 1981. That's after we won the Africa Cup of Nations in 1980. They were preparing for the 1982 Africa Cup of Nations, and then the coach then, Otto Gloria, demanded for 1 million naira from him. And then he said, according to he was quoted to have said, and honestly, I hope that he didn't say it, just as Segun Odegbami has been interviewed to, and Segun Odegbami said he's hoping that John Fashanu was misquoted or he did not say this, that the court demanded for 1 million naira from him. And that they said, John, you've not paid your money. And he said, money for what? He said, to play for the Green Eagles, you've got to pay. And he said, pay how much? What do you mean? And I said, 1 million naira. And then he told him, look, I do not have the money. I was just invited here. They told me to come and try out for the Green Eagles, and that's why I am here. And then the coach said, well, if you do not have, you should leave. And then he left, went back to England, because at that time, what he was getting paid was not even enough to even take care of himself, let alone to pay 1 million to play for Nigeria. And then he came back after some months and attempted again to enter the Green Eagles squad, but Otto Gloria drove him away. That's what the quotes, how they quoted it, that Otto Gloria drove him away, and then he was shocked, and then that's why he decided that he was going to play for England, and he left Nigeria. But Segun Odegbami, who was the captain of the team at that time, first he said, look, I hope that this whole thing is just a misunderstanding. I hope that John Fashanu did not actually say this, that he was there in the squad and he can tell the whole world that nobody gave a kobo to Otto Gloria, and that the reason I was there when John Fashanu came in 1981 was that there were so many good players in the team. We just won the Africa Cup of Nations. There were so many players, so it was not easy for anybody to break into the team. That even Adoke Amasemaka, that was like superstar. Justin, the elder brother of John, who unfortunately passed on some years back. Now he was the superstar of the two then. That even Justin could not get into
the Green Eagles squad at that point, let alone John Fashanu, who was just a young player coming up then. And that he was 100% sure, because Otto Gloria unfortunately has passed on, that Otto Gloria will not demand for money from anybody. And that, by the way, with the money that we're talking about, that he is very sure that even John Fashanu cannot afford that at that time. And that at that point, when Otto Gloria was the coach of the national team of Nigeria, there was earning about 250,000 naira per month. This is now, you say, oh, that is nothing.
That's peanuts.
But then the naira was even more valuable. It was 1 naira to 1 pound then, and the naira even was more valuable than the dollar at that point. So it was huge. At that time, Otto Gloria was earning even more than President Shehu Shagari, who was the president of Nigeria. And he was one of the most respected coaches in the world. This was somebody who coached even the great Eusebio, who coached the Portuguese national team. So he doesn't believe that Otto Gloria will descend so low as to demand for money from any player. But I'm also not convinced about this whole thing. I want to believe that the story itself is false, but as I said, maybe by now we should have had a rebuttal from John Fashanu to say, look, I did not grant this interview, I did not actually say this, because I have, as I said, I've interviewed John Fashanu a couple of times, and I've heard John Fashanu say that is the biggest regret of his career was not playing for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I recall John Fashanu corroborating what John Segun Odegbami said, that he came to Nigeria that 1981 and attempted to get in, but the quality that he saw, that was too much. Segun Odegbami said John Fashanu did not, that he just came, that he even appealed to Otto Gloria to look at him, to give him a chance, but that there were too many good players that Otto Gloria did not even have the chance to look at John Fashanu. So let alone that was asking him to come and pay any money. That John Fashanu just came to the camp and maybe the next day or 2 days later was gone. That the thing was so brief, people could be forgiven for even forgetting that he came. And I've heard John Fashanu in an interview some years ago say that he could not get into the team, that the team was too good at that point that he first came. Then again, when we were heading to the 1988 Olympic Games, there were conscious attempts to get John Fashanu to play for Nigeria, but I think he was demanding for certain privileges then, and unfortunately, maybe Nigeria could not afford to do some of the things that he wanted, and he did not come, because he was supposed to go to the Olympic Games in 1988, but he didn't. Then again, in 1993, after we qualified for the USA 94 World Cup, there were attempts to bring John Fashanu into the national team. I recall Complete Football. They wrote a piece and it was titled Shove the Fash. You know, his nickname, John Fashanu the Fash, you know. And they said, Complete Football titled it Shove the Fash. And they wrote a very incisive piece in which they said that some players had shed their blood and sweat to get Nigeria to qualify. That when Nigeria needed John Fashanu in 1988, John Fashanu did not come to play for Nigeria. So because of that, they don't feel that John Fashanu should be given the opportunity. That it is the players who took part in the qualifiers. And besides, you know, it's not even all of them. Richard Obokere played in the qualifiers, but he did not eventually make the team to the World Cup. That it is those guys that should be given the opportunity and not John Fashanu. That they even then ended it in a sarcastic note by saying that except if they want to convert John Fashanu to a defender, because that's where Nigeria was desperate, because in the qualifiers we considered so many goals. We eventually corrected that when we got to Tunisia and 94. Well, not so many goals, but some goals that you felt Nigeria should not have considered this goal, because we were always complaining. I watched the team live at the stadium, so I saw that the defense was shaking. Uche Okechukwu was not fully fit then. He just had a hernia operation. Stephen Keshi was having knee issues. One match, he played, Clemens Vesterhoff played Austin Eguavon and Uche Okechukwu as the central defenders, and I think that was against Algeria, and within a couple of minutes we considered Abdulhafid Tashfalt had scored, and he vowed, Clemens Vesterhoff vowed, that he will never pair Okechukwu and Eguavon again as the central defender, and that's how Egbaban was moved to the right back, and he became Nigeria's greatest right back ever. So we were having problems in the defense in the qualifiers. So complete football were just, just said, well, if they want to convert him to a defender, because we all know that John Fashion was a striker. So all of these things, all of these times, John Fashion never mentioned that somebody attempted to collect money from him. So I'll be surprised if he actually said this, because he has said many times that when he came, the quality was just too much. The first time he came as a young player, but that other time in 1988, he could have made the team. I know that there were attempts to get him in 1993, but it was resisted. That one was resisted, and people said no, because then he was already an established superstar. He was playing for Wimbledon then and everything, and they said no, there are other players who had done well for Nigeria, who had given their blood for Nigeria. I recall one general. I can't remember, but I'm thinking maybe it was let me not mention any name because I don't know, but some of these our senior colleagues who were on TV then, because I was always watching sports Saturday, Sunday, and all of that. And one of them said, look, that the reason why he's confident that Nigeria will qualify for the World Cup was that in 1988, John Fashanu was demanding for, I think it was about $1 million or so, to play for Nigeria when Nigeria wanted him to come for the Olympics. But that today, John Fashanu will gladly pay to play for Nigeria, and that's why he's confident that Nigeria will qualify, because our football has advanced to the... by 1994, we were ranked number 5 in the world. Yeah, so at that point, everybody wanted to play for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So as I said, I hope that this whole thing is not true. That maybe John Fashion will come out tomorrow and say, well, I never granted that interview, I was misquoted or something. But if he actually said it, it's unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate.
All right, this is Sports Fiesta here on KU92.7 FM. That was the voice of Salih Ibrahim, the Sports Ibracadabra. I mean, CJ, the maestro. Let's go for it. Let's go to France. Well, we understand that authorities have ordered a 4-match stand closure and arrested a man after ugly scenes caused Nice's League 1 game with Marseille to be abandoned. The Apple's Maritime Department said the popular stand, that's the popular south stand of Nice's Allianz Rivera Stadium, would be closed after the brawl between fans and players. Well, a 28-year-old man was taken into custody for his part in Sunday's melee. Of course, like we told you yesterday, Marseille's Dimitri Payet was hit by a bottle, and then he threw it back into the crowd, causing fans to storm into the pitch. Well, Nice players, of course, they returned to the match, hoping to continue after some delay, but then the Marseille players, and of course their technical crew said they would not want to be part of that kind of match at that venue, because they felt their players were not safe to continue playing. As at that time, Nice were leading 1-0 courtesy of the goal from Kasper Doiberg. It was a first-half goal for Nice. Now, yesterday, the football professional, the French league's governing body, said that following the serious incident, both clubs had been summoned to its disciplinary commission today. So the teams and the representatives would go to, of course, answer questions on why they had that ugly incident over the weekend, and we hope that justice will come from this one. We understand a 28-year-old man has been arrested for his part. I'm guessing it was the man who threw the bottle at Dimitri Payet.
Yeah, and look, I am eagerly waiting for the verdict. I want to see whether they will give 3 points and 3 goals to Nice. Because that's what we usually have in the Nigerian National League. So I want to see what will happen. You can see how swiftly they have reacted.
Absolutely.
That particular stand where the incident came from.
They closed it for the next 4 matches.
Yes, and maybe I'm guessing that's where it was the people in that stand that rushed into the pitch to confront the players, and you can see that they swiftly. This thing happened on I think on Sunday. On Monday, they had already taken decision, and today they're asking the two clubs to come, and we'll see what.
We'll go tomorrow.
Yes, we'll see what they will decide with this. Maybe Nigeria can learn from some of these kind of things that happen. Unfortunately, it's something that happens everywhere, although the frequency, it's what, I mean, we didn't hear this last season. We've not had it for a long time, but now we can see that it also happens. But unfortunately here, it happens almost every week, especially in the Nigerian National League. If it doesn't happen in this group, you hear it in another group and all of that. So that's the problem. So I'm waiting to see the decision that will be taken concerning the result of the match, whether they will say Nice now, because Marseille refused to continue. We'll see whether they will say the match was halted in the 76th minute. So we'll see whether they will say 3 points and 3 goals has been awarded to Olympic with Tunis, because the final whistle was not blown. And in the rule of the NNL, they say if one team refuses to continue after 5 minutes, then the results at that time, or 3 points and 3 goals, whichever is greater, that's the one that
so they also say, even if there is no security, just play. Just play. Play even if there's no security. You know, I mean, it makes no sense. If a team has an issue with the number of security men on the pitch for a match, I mean, it should be looked at, you know. But we're seeing what the French football authorities are doing. In fact, because they are not used to this one, French Sports Minister Rosanna also called the incident an insult for sports and football, and that's what we want to hear, where people come out to condemn things like this. Of course, you did not hear the football authorities condemning Marseille for refusing to continue playing. Obviously, in a situation like that, it's usually difficult for the players to concentrate on football. You don't even know whether the entire fans will descend on the players and then the rest. So it's important. The people at Marseille, of course, they had to take that decision to say, we're not going to continue until we're sure our players are safe to play in that stadium. And we're happy that the authorities have taken very key decisive actions in forestalling this particular incident in the future.
I suspect that the Payet is going to get sanctioned.
Maybe a fine or maybe match suspension or something.
Yeah, but I'm very sure that they are going to punish him, even if you are provoked, which they did. I mean, the best thing will have been just lay on the floor. You can exaggerate the injury or the impact of the force that struck you.
Yeah, because if he had not thrown the bottle back, I'm not sure we'll be having this discussion. It would have been about Nice fan throwing the bottle at Dimitri Payet, and then a punishment will be meted out to Nice.
There was attempted murder. You lay on the floor and pretend that your life was leaving you and all of that, instead of throwing the bottle back into the ground. I understand that it was provoked, but as we have said, you don't even know. There is no, you are not targeting the person who threw the bottle.
Because obviously you may not know who did that.
Yeah, of course, you just saw something hit you and you just reacted. And the best thing is to lay on the floor, hold your head and roll and scream and whatever, so that the game will be halted and they will try to fish out the person who did that, instead of throwing the bottle back at where it came from. So it's wrong that he did that. But I wonder how they even allowed
a bottle inside the stadium. Usually we don't hear things like that, because even FIFA they outlaw things like having a bottle inside the stadium, because you can use it at any time. It's regarded as a weapon, so you're not usually allowed to carry guns into a stadium. You can do that outside the stadium, but then not inside the main bowl. So those are some of the safety things that FIFA, puts in place to ensure people are not attacked consistently. All right, I'm sure you like this next one, because Premier League sides are among leading European clubs set to prevent players from going to red list countries for September's international break, unless quarantine exceptions are made, where players will be forced to miss, domestic league matches because of the 10-day isolation period required on return to the UK. We understand that Egypt are in the red zone area for England. We also know that Brazil are also there. So Liverpool have come out to say they will not allow Salah to play for Egypt in the next FIFA window. In fact, outrightly they refused to release Salah for the international break. They've also said that they may most likely not allow Brazilian trio Alisson Becker, Fabinho and Roberto Firmino to be part of the Brazil's international break, because Brazil are also on the red list as well as Egypt. But then there's a caveat on that of Mohamed Salah, because for Mohamed Salah, Liverpool are saying they will allow Salah to play against Gabon away from home, but then going to Egypt to play for Egypt versus Angola is out of it totally. Let's look at this, because, I mean, if you have to move to Egypt as a footballer from England, and then you want to come back to England, you have to quarantine for 10 days. And you know how it is. It means you're not going to train with your teammates. It means you're going to miss a couple of matches for your team. And you know, we know how important a player like Salah is. It's not just about Liverpool. We also have other football clubs spread across Europe who are going to have issues with this. Even clubs in the Championship will also have issues with this one, especially those clubs who have players from red zone countries.
Yeah, you've got to sympathize with the clubs at this time, because you want your best players to play for you, and the risk of contracting COVID is there, and so you cannot fault the country for insisting that you must follow the quarantine process when you travel out of the country, especially to red list countries, that when you're coming back you have to quarantine for a certain number of days. I think they may have to come to a compromise with this. Either they will say, okay, we'll take whatever steps there are. That's the country that are inviting the players to play for them, because they also have a right to their players.
Yeah, FIFA allows that.
Yes, so they should play for them. But if they can guarantee that, but Mohamed Salah has even contracted COVID
before,
in the past,
and then recovered. He's in for Mane as well.
Yeah, and we saw him dancing at his brother's wedding, and eventually he contracted COVID-19. So maybe the players themselves should be a bit more responsible when they travel out. So I believe that if they can guarantee the host FA, that's talking about the English FA in this case, that look, we will, these players will be well taken care of. The risk of contracting COVID will be minimized to the barest minimum, so that they can actually play for their countries, and when they come back, they can waive that quarantine period. Because we've seen it done before. Yeah. There are things that international diplomacy allows you to get away with.
On arrival, you can be tested.
Yeah.
Maybe after 3 days, you can also be tested as well, or continuous testing.
Exactly. So they can do that. They can come to a compromise, because every country wants their best players to represent them during the qualifiers, and every club wants their best players to play for them when the league resumes.
They pay a lot of money, so they can make a case for themselves. All right, so we'll see how the Premier League and other league authorities in Europe gets to handle this one, as well as the government of countries like England, and of course the other countries affected by the coronavirus restrictions placed on some red zone countries. Okay, let's talk about the result of yesterday's matches and look at that for today before we go take your messages. For the Premier League yesterday night, West Ham United hammered Leicester City 4-1. It was a 10-man Leicester City. Walaise Perez got an early shower in that game, and that cost his team the result against West Ham. Well, Spanish La Liga results, 2 matches for you. Getafe lost at home to Sevilla, while Osasuna played out a 0-0 draw versus Celta Vigo. For the Italian Serie A, Cagliari played a 2-2 draw with Spezia, while Sampdoria lost at home to AC Milan 1-0. And then tonight, in the UEFA Champions League qualifying matches, Ferencváros will be up against BSC Young Boys Ben, Ludogorets versus Malmö FF, while PSV Eindhoven will take to the pitch against Benfica. Okay, let's go see if you will have some messages to take this morning.
Yeah, we've got some messages. I don't know if we'll be able to take the result of Monday Night Raw, but if we are unable to, then we will look at them in the evening. This one says, dear Sportical greats, as for Arsenal, dry bones will rise again. This from Don Morgan. Okay. Good day, men of sports. I am Miss Titus. Is it Musa Titus or Miss?
Misa.
Titus from GRA. Mateta should be packing before the next fixtures ahead of him, because for me, I cannot recognize him as an Arsenal coach. He should look for the club in Championship and manage there, because Arsenal is bigger than him. And for Super Falcons, if they failed, I'm sure you mean if they failed to win Aisha Buhari's Cup, I will be very disappointed for them, especially my sister Francisca Odega, and congratulations to our under 20 athletes. Okay. That non-Nigerian is among the 6 referees selected by FIFA to officiate in the 2022 World Cup qualifiers in Qatar shows that FIFA is aware of the poor officiating of Nigerian referees in our local leagues and other assignments. That Congo and Ethiopia had their referees selected by FIFA is enough for Nigerian referees to repent from Bamwen. Okay. Finally, good day, sports gurus. So happy to see the Premier League starting again on a very bright note. Kindly usher my West Ham United boys into Monday's match with our anthem Forever Blowing Bubbles. Thank you. My regards, Anthony from Sapele Road. Okay, West Ham actually won that encounter 4 goals to 1 with Michael Antonio. It was just unplayable yesterday. Scored 2 goals and was involved in everything good that West Ham United did.
All right, so that's that. Before we go, let's go blow the final whistle.
We're talking earlier in the week, and I said, you know, what will be the best celebration? Save the last dance. Maybe somebody could pick me up like baby, but I got a cardboard cutout and picked that up. West Ham United striker Mikel Antonio reacting after becoming the club's record goal scorer in the Premier League era after getting 2 goals in the 4-1 win over Leicester City to take his tally to 49. And that's the final whistle on Sports Fiesta this morning.
All right, so that's the size of the package for this morning. That's, of course, where we have to end it for this edition of Sports Fiesta here on KU 92.7 FM. Hopefully, we'll be back here by 4 p.m. for another scintillating edition of the show. Until then, I remain CJ, the Maestro, signing out.
Trying to get or receive information through all corners of the globe requires unprecedented internet service. At Wireless NG, we provide fast, reliable, and affordable unlimited broadband internet service to homes and businesses. Service is currently available across Lagos and Benin. Visit us today at Wireless NG, 5 Ramaya, Ikenede Street off PZ Sapler Road, Benin City, or our marketing office, 70 Olowo Complex, Airport Road, Benin City, or call 0807-887-9960 or 0703-672-9147. Wireless NG, erasing internet boundaries.
Max, my customer. I would like to buy that AC over there. Yeah, in this store. But it's right there. That's what I'm pointing to right now. But you are pointing at Premier Cool Soap. Yes, so there's a Premier Cool promo going right now. These 3 bars of Premier Cool Soap on your shelf could be PS5, laptop, mobile phone. Max, just give me the 3 bars of Premier Cool Soap. Join the cool side and win amazing prizes like PS5, mobile phones, laptops, and a host of others, including a paid trip for 2 to Dubai in the Premier Cool Chill and Win promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Listen, we talk about what's more practical and comfortable in the business of elevator, escalator, building automation. Then let's talk about Enabritech Limited. For your home and office, companies and industries, when you think of professionals in providing and installing elevator, escalator, building automation, automatic doors and gates, and lots more, think Enabritech Limited. Visit our Benin office, 14 Idean Street, off Iyama Road, GRA, Benin City. Telephone 0905-257-2571. Abuja, 40 Mirage Estate, Guaripa, Abuja. Telephone 0807-7577-398. Lagos, 417 C6 1004 Estate, Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. Telephone 0807-7577-392. Ghana office, Medina Estate, Accra, Ghana. Telephone +233-504-651-537. Email info@enabritech.com. Website www.enabritech.com. Enabritech Limited. Technology moves you.
Hey, share your body there confirm with Yoyo Bitters. You go dey wonder wetin e mean. Wetin e mean be say whether you dey take Yoyo Bitters every day. Yoyo Bitters dey protection you against infections wey fit happen anytime. Na im be say you go dey take Yoyo Bitters like food supplement abi medicine wey doctor give you. Na correct natural ingredients dey inside wey dey wash all yamayama. Ogbonge vitamins dey inside to help your body work well. E never finish o. Yoyo Bitters get minerals wey go boost your body immunity to fight sickness, disease and free radicals. Na im make am dey important to get Yoyo Bitters for office, house and everywhere. Yoyo Bitters dey for liquid, gel plus including tablets. Make you quick go buy your own for pharmacy and medicine stores wey near you. Yoyo Bitters, make you dey clean inside out.
1xBet makes betting easier with their app for both Android and iPhone users. From finding games easily, playing virtuals, and betting with ease and speed has made it more fun to play on the 1xBet app. Download the 1xBet app on our website, 1xBet.ng, and use the promo code NG21 if you're creating your account for the first time. 1xBet, bets for everything.
The best of everything. KUFM 92.7. Turn on excitement.
All the programs on KU 92.7 are now open for sponsorship and advert placements. For sponsorship and advert placements, call now for inquiries 070-380-50243 or 080-8877-3644 or visit KUFM Marketing Office located at the top floor of the Enterprise Foundation Building, number 62, Ihama Road, Benin City, Edo State. 92.7 KUFM is your business growth partner.
92.7 KUFM.
From Benin City to the world.
This is 92.7 KUFM News.
It's 9 a.m. This is KUFM News Update on the hour. I'm Benjamin Kadiri. Edo State government has warned that from the second week of September, those without proof of at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccination will not be allowed access to public places in the state. Governor Godwin Obaseki disclosed this during the flag-off of the second phase of COVID-19 vaccination campaign in Government House, Benin City on Monday. He said the measures is to ensure citizens are protected in the face of the ravaging effect of the Delta variant of the virus. He disclosed that available figures from the state have shown that the major victims of this variant are the non-vaccinated individuals. The 36 states of the Federation have set up a 6-man committee on the Petroleum Industry Act with a mandate to study and draw up amendments to the law. The chairman of Forum of Commissioners of Finance and Benue State Commissioner for Finance, David Olofu, who disclosed this in an interview on Monday, stated that the forum will submit proposed amendments to the act to the steering committee on the PIA set up by President Muhammadu Buhari. Recall that the Petroleum Industry Bill, which was signed into law by the President, has attracted criticisms from some stakeholders, especially the state governors and the oil-bearing communities. The Central Bank of Nigeria has recorded a shortfall of 378.5 billion naira in loan repayments by beneficiaries under the Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP, in 6 years. Between November 2015, when the ABP scheme was introduced, and November 2020, the CBN executed a total of 2.3 million projects under the program and disbursed 497.2 billion naira to farmers. However, data obtained from the CBN's fourth quarter 2020 economic report showed that only 118.7 billion naira had been repaid by the beneficiaries within the review period. President Muhammadu Buhari launched the ABP on November 17, 2015, in a bid to reverse Nigeria's negative balance of payments on food. Beneficiaries of the program include farmers cultivating cereals, cotton, roots and tubers, sugarcane, tree crops, legumes, tomato, and livestock. Rivers High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has granted an order of interim injunction stopping Uche Secondus from parading himself as the national chairman and member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The order was made following a suit filed against Secondus and the PDP by some members of the party identified as Ibiauchi Alex, Dennis Na Amadi, Emmanuel Stephen, and Umezirike Onucha. The order, which was granted on Monday by Justice O. Basa, restrains Secondus from attending or presiding over any meeting of the PDP in any committee of the party at ward, local government, or state government. The court also barred Secondus from calling for any ward, local government, or state congress, or setting up committees for such congresses, or participating in any activity of the PDP whatsoever while on suspension as a member of PDP. The court ordered that Secondus would remain suspended pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. And that's KUFM News Update on the Hour. I am Benjamin Kadiri. Thanks for listening. Good morning.
KUFM.
Everybody wants to know more of this and more of that. What is happening around the globe? Me, myself, I want to know. No more, 'cause I got good news for you. The best station is knocking on your door. Just sit back and relax, hey. Just sit back and relax, 'cause all you have to do is tune into 92.7 KUFM. Tune into 92.7 KUFM. Into 92.7 KUFM. Tune 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 into 92.7 KUFM.
92.7 KUFM. Turn on excitement.
Hello, entrepreneurs, business owners, and organizations. KUFM 92.7 has an impressive and constantly expanding number of followers online. You can now advertise your goods and services on KUFM's social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Take advantage of our online presence and reach out to our growing audience at very affordable rates. Call 0703 109 4612 or 0806 530 5657 or 0802 232 7191 or visit our marketing office, top floor, Enterprise Foundation Building, number 62, Ihama Road, GRA, Benin City. KUFM, your business growth partner.
Wake up every day so done with motivation. Turn on my excitement. 92.7, everybody knows KU FM. I'm in love with my radio. KU FM. I'm in love with my radio. KU FM. I'm in love with my radio. KU FM. 92.7 is my radio. Start up my day with a KU breakfast. So move to the KU midday. So Radio Tori, Sparks Fiesta, KU drive time, and I wrap up my day with the KU night live. KU FM, I'm in love with my radio. KU FM, I'm in love with my radio. KU FM, I'm in love with my radio. KU FM, 92.7 is my radio.
92.7 KU FM.
Problem King. Problem King.
All right, you're still on KU FM Breakfast Show. And of course, usually, I know we come right around this time to do dialogue. So we'll be interrupting our regular flow of the Breakfast Show today to take two guests we have in the house. So let me welcome our guest. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Olufemi Ajiboye.
Yes.
He's from the Benin Medical Care, Business Development Manager. And we got Dr. Tolu Giwa Showande. Did I get that correctly?
You got it.
Okay, she's a medical doctor, BMC. Good to have you guys in the studio with us today. And you guys are here to tell us about hepatitis.
Yes.
And okay, so you can go ahead and take us right into it first and foremost.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We are from Benin Medical Care. We are here to talk about hepatitis. First, to start off with, Benin Medical Care is holding an event on the 27th of August, that's this Friday, commemorating the World Hepatitis Day, which was last month, July 28th. So we are commemorating that day and bringing to the public awareness about hepatitis. And that's the more reason the doctor is here, to shed more light on what hepatitis is and its risks. So the event generally is, there's going to be a talk on that day by Professor Omemu, and he's going to also shed more light on the importance of checking yourself, knowing your hepatitis status. So on that day, there's going to be free hepatitis screening. And for those who are negative, we are going to give a well discount, a huge discount on the vaccine. So, and this program is in collaboration with Mega Life Sciences and Emzo Pharmaceuticals. So we're just here to implore everybody to try as much as possible to show up on that day. It's going to be not a long program. It's going to be a short program, say like a 2-hour program. But for the whole day, we'll be accommodating everybody who wants to come in and have either themselves tested or the vaccine
administered.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I think I'm going to give the doctor the opportunity
you are the floor.
more about hepatitis.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Femi. Hepatitis is actually inflammation of the cells of the liver. And what piques our interest today is viral hepatitis. Hepatitis can be caused by different things, alcohol, drugs, and autoimmune. But what we're interested in today is viral hepatitis. The viral hepatitis, there are 5 types. There's hepatitis A, there's hepatitis B, hepatitis C, D, and E. Hepatitis A and E are usually acute. They don't cause lasting inflammation or damage to the liver cells, and they can be gotten through contaminated water. So somebody that has hepatitis A or hepatitis E passes feces into contaminated water, and then somebody else consumes it, either from maybe directly or from the food that is used to make. So someone can get hepatitis A or hepatitis E from there. While hepatitis B, C, and D are the ones that actually cause either acute or chronic. Acute means short-term infection, while chronic means long-term infection and damage to the liver cells. These ones are gotten through blood cells, blood products, so from blood, semen, other blood products. That's where you can get it from. So someone that is a drug abuser that uses needles, somebody that shares needles, shares sharp objects, razor blades, through sexual intercourse, through blood transfusion, and then sometimes from contaminated surfaces. The interesting thing is that hepatitis B can last out of the body for up to 7 days. So if you have, maybe somebody had a cut at work, somebody that was infected, and the blood dropped on the table surface, it wasn't cleaned with an antiseptic or a disinfectant, somebody else has an open wound and touches that same surface, the person can get contaminated from that. So hepatitis B and C are like silent killers. Sometimes people have it and they don't even know that they have it until maybe they go to the hospital. Maybe pregnant women go for their routine antenatal and they have the test carried out and they discover that they are positive. Sometimes just incidentally, people, maybe like free screening like this, people go and they find out that they have the infection. Hepatitis D, on the other hand, is called a superimposed infection. It can only happen in the presence of hepatitis B. So if somebody doesn't have hepatitis B, the person can get infected with hepatitis D. And that's why it's important to be immunized or vaccinated against hepatitis B, because you're not only preventing yourself from one, but from two, hepatitis B and hepatitis D. Now, the vaccine, the vaccine actually is in 3 doses. So you have the first dose. Maybe when you come on Friday, you take the first dose. Then a month after, you take the second dose. And then 6 months after, you take the third dose. It is expected that it confers lifelong immunity upon the person that takes it. It's also important for healthcare professionals or people that are exposed to blood products, people that are exposed to sharp objects. It's important that they take. So maybe you're a barber, you're a makeup artist, you make use of blades and all of that a lot. You should actually be take the vaccine against hepatitis B. Hepatitis C currently doesn't have a vaccine, but hepatitis B, at least you prevent yourself, a great deal. People that have multiple sexual partners, people that have high-risk sexual activities should also be vaccinated against. In short, everybody. Right now in Nigeria, there are about 20 million people that are infected with hepatitis B and hepatitis C. So it's important that people get vaccinated against it. Now, if you don't, and somebody gets infected with either of these viruses, it's actually very costly to manage. So people that have it have to be on antiviral medications for a long time, for months, for weeks, for months, some people for years. And these medications are actually expensive. So you do yourself a great deal of favor if you're vaccinated, rather than wait till you're infected and you have to spend so much money to take care of yourself on the long run.
Yeah. So basically, what are like the major symptoms?
Okay, so the sometimes it can be symptomless. So somebody has it and the person doesn't feel anything, doesn't know. Sometimes the acute phase, it can maybe have body pains. You can have things like flu, so like catarrh, cough, and all of that. Now, on the long run, because it damages the liver cells, so the function of the liver is affected. Glucose metabolism, cholesterol metabolism, bile production. Bile is what is needed for food digestion. It affects clotting factors, so people can have bleeding disorders. It can lead to liver cancer. So people have had liver, and then all the other things that come with cancer, weight loss, and all of that. So a myriad of things.
Okay. And you say there's going to be a sort of vaccination and checkup on Friday.
On Friday, yes.
Open to the general public.
Yes.
Okay, if you can just go ahead and announce the phone numbers, or probably how possibly people can get to be part of it. Okay.
Benin Medical Care is located at number 53 Adesua Road. You can come through Ihama Road, and then you can come straight from Adesua up Adesua down. So you can ask anybody there. Everybody knows where Benin Medical Care is.
Okay.
And on that day, it's open to the public. And if you need more information, you can reach us on 090 538 20927.
Okay. So if you have to call in to get more details on this program, you can call 090 538 20927. Okay, so it's been nice having you in the studio, Dr. Tolu Giwa Swande.
Thank you.
Medical doctor, and also Olufemi Ajeboye, Mr. From the Benin Medical Care Business Development Manager. You are. He said. Good to have you in the studio.
Yes, sir.
And of course, so once again, if you have to reach them, you can call 090 538 20927. It's been great having you in the studio. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
KUFM.
Wake up every day, feeling so down with motivation. Turn on my excitement. 92.7, everybody knows KUFM. I'm in love with my radio. KUFM. I'm in love with my radio. KUFM. I'm in love with my radio. KUFM. 92.7 is my radio. Start up my day with a KU breakfast. So move to the KU midday. So Radio Tori, Sports Fiesta, KU drive time, and I wrap up my day with the KU night live. KU FM, I'm in love with my radio. KU FM, I'm in love with my radio. KU FM, I'm in love with my radio. KU FM, 92.7 is my radio.
Nigeria's political landscape has evolved over the years, but since 1960, the yearnings of the people have remained the same.
We want problem I like to. I don't tire.
There are no jobs in this country.
Everyone please, you carry 250 million naira. Go buy motor. Corruption for this country too much. Our healthcare in Nigeria is really poor. Women are dying at childbirth almost every day.
Join us on the program Dialogue as we focus on Nigeria's political scene. We bring you interviews from political gladiators.
So this wasn't the problem with the governors. It was the corruption in the SS Food account. It was the fact that without any clearance, the federal government dipped their hand in the SS Food account to fund their business. And SS Food account is money you save from the state government and the federal government.
In-depth analysis of policy statements.
Nigeria does have a problem with corruption, and so do many other countries, including developed countries. I don't like the fact that when people mention the name Nigeria, the next thing they say is corruption. This is a country of 170 million people. 99.9% of them are hardworking citizens who just want to get on with their lives, and they want a government that delivers for them.
and voicing your political opinion. Every weekday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 92.7 KUFM. Dialogue. Your voice counts.
Yeah, I mean, the system collapse, I believe, was the 8th one this year, and we're just about the middle of the year. As you have mentioned, we had a total of 12 last.
I'm a lawyer moonlighting, it seems, as an engineer, but no. How a grid operates is something that concerns all of us. So a systems collapse is what happens when, to put it very simply, the electricity grid is no longer in balance. An electricity grid is really a transport pipeline, so to speak. I'm trying to keep this as simple as I can. And thankfully, I'm a lawyer, so hopefully it will be a little easier to do. But a grid is simply a pipeline that conveys electrons from generators to distributors. As you can imagine, with all pipelines, any pipeline you can think of, it has to be kept in balance. And in this case, the balance we're talking about here is an engineering balance between the voltage at which these electrons travel and their frequency on one hand. But you know, I would add another kind of balance, which is commercial or financial balance. For every electron that goes out into the market, some money equivalent to the value of that electron needs to go back in, so that pipeline continues to run and continues to grow as population demands require it to grow. If either of these two balances is upset, the system will inevitably collapse. In Nigeria, first of all, let's understand this. A systems collapse is a major aberration. It should never happen. Your typical engineer of any persuasion, mechanical, electrical, whatever kind, will tell you that engineering is actually a very simple science. You follow the rules, it's science. So if you follow the rules, you will be okay. If you don't follow the rules, things go bad. So it's not about the engineering, really. It's essentially about the human element, the X factor, as I define it, which comes into play when an engineering system of any kind has to be made to operate for human beings. So really, at the end of the day, it's not the engineering that is the problem. So let's not blame our systems operators. Let's not blame those who we give the very difficult and almost impossible task of maintaining a national grid for us. Let us instead blame ourselves, whether we are consumers, whether we are generators, whether we are distribution entities, whether we are policymakers, whether we are government, state, federal. It's really the human factor that, when brought into play, and when we, as we are wont to do as willful human beings, when we try to disobey the laws of economics and disobey the laws of engineering, which follows the disobedience to the laws of economics, we get into this trouble that we call systems collapses. It doesn't happen elsewhere. I said in one of those tweets that I met a gentleman at a company called PJM. PJM Interconnect runs system operations for 13 states in the northeast of the United States. And I met a guy there in 2014 who had been there for over 40 years. He had never seen a systems collapse. He had seen brownouts, occasional collapses in a small part of the grid, which is easily managed, but never a total collapse like we seem to have with such depressing regularity here in Nigeria. No, it's not. It won't die. Look, that was a bit of a hyperbole. I was a little bit exaggerating when I said systems collapse is like a heart attack, but it is a major event, which is an aberration. Our system will not die. We're putting money into it. Maybe not enough. In fact, definitely not enough. If you ask me, I would say that the backlog of investments, which we ought to have made consistently over time and have not made up till date, probably adds up to hundreds of billions of dollars, which we have to spend just to be able to get a system in place, an electricity system in place for us that suits our population of 200 million today. And I'm not talking about investments going forward. I'm talking about backlog. Hundreds of millions of dollars in fuel supply, in generation, in transmission, and in distribution that we have not made. And you know, the thing about engineering is that you cannot overlook an investment that you must make in a utility system. You must make that investment one way or another, or the loss is yours. So yeah, our system is not going to die. It's limping along. It could be a lot better than it is, and because it's not, we suffer untold financial, socioeconomic, commercial consequences that we can't even begin to fathom at this point. If you ask me, let me own up to something. I wasn't just an attorney general or a member of the commission in NAC. I was also, I had the privilege, the really great privilege of being team leader for power sector reform in the BPE about 20 years ago. And the law that we have today, the policy that we have today was actually put together by my team, this team had this law that we have first passed in 2003. Before it had to go back to the National Assembly again when the president at the time, President OBJ, didn't assent to it for reasons best known to him. And then he went back to the National Assembly and became law in 2005. So the system that we have today is one which at the time, I think, was fit for purpose. We're talking here about 2001, 2002, 2003, 2005, when the Power Sector Reform Act came into effect. There has been, if I may use that phrase, a bargain between states and the federal government. And this bargain flows from our history of a unitary system of government, albeit we call ourselves a federation. And at that time, the bargain was, look, the federal government will lead just about everything. So the easiest thing to do at the time was to take the structure that we had, which was a national market, one single national market, divided into generation sector, transmission sector, distribution sector, which was itself further subdivided into a number of zones. And that structure wasn't changed. We just took the 10 or 11 zones that we had in the distribution sector and turned them into private companies that covered a number of states, except for Lagos, which has 2 discos. We took transmission, which was one single national entity, one single grid, and made it into TCN. And we took the 6, 7, 8 generation plants that we had and made them into single asset generation companies. That's the structure that we had. If things had gone well, and that's a very big if, which requires a whole seminar on its own, but if things had gone well, we would probably have evolved to a situation where you have a national market, but with our distribution companies having lots of franchises, lots of subsidiaries that cover individual states. It hasn't happened. And so today, I don't think, speaking quite honestly, that the reform plan that we started out with in 2001 is still as it is today, given the change in science, technology, engineering achievements and advances that we have made, given the change in our demographics, given the change in even the way we are as a people. I don't think that one-size-fits-all national grid system would still work for us. I think that what we need to begin to look at is to bring more states actively into the fray, decentralize our distribution, pay some more heed to the actual wording of our constitution, which actually empowers states to make laws for the distribution sector, for regulation and for transmission, if it is carried on within those states, not outside the borders, which is still federal responsibility, but within those states. We need to bring more states that are willing and able to do so into the frame of activity in terms of regulation and operation of our electricity distribution. So at the beginning, we talked about what causes a system collapse. And I said to you, it's not engineering, it's the human factor. I think that the federal government, on one hand, states, not states as a group, but individual states that are willing and able and desire it, need to begin to look at how we can transit responsibility for local markets, for the distribution sector, to those states that want to do so. It's a very delicate process. It's never been done before. But when you have the kind of situation in which we are, in which one single grid actually holds back lots of states, and you can mention any number of states that you want to, Edo State, Rivers State, Kaduna State, Kebbi State, Plateau State, Lagos State, Ogun State, Oyo State. These are states which, in my respectful view, need to bite the bullet and develop the capacity to be able to engage with the federal government about transiting responsibility for electricity business that goes on within those states to entities set up by those states under a clear-cut policy and legal framework that those states ought to be able to begin to establish now. But if you have a state that doesn't have such a framework for engagement at local level, of course the federal government will continue to do what it does for all the states put together. It should have happened.
I just listened to the voice of Ayo Ekpo there. He's a CEO Extradite Consulting and also former commissioner of market competition, and of course a major stakeholder with NERC, NERC, back then, a former member of NERC, and is also the former Attorney General of Cross River State. So that's a man with vast knowledge right there of our power distribution system. Power generating and distribution system has played a major role in past administrations before. I had to bring that one up so we consider the true situation of our power generating system in this country and our power distribution system, as it's become a major call for concern over the years. What's happening to our power system? The recent collapse of the national grid yesterday that was reported was the reason why we needed to look into this one. So for the second time in less than a month, the national power grid has collapsed, worsening the blackout being experienced by households and businesses in parts of Nigeria. It's quite worrisome. If at this era, at this stage in the world today, we're still having issues of power failure. It's quite worrisome. So 2 of the electricity distribution companies in the country confirmed the collapse, which occurred around 1 p.m. on Monday. So the grid had on July 28, 2021, suffered a total collapse, which the Transmission Company of Nigeria attributed to the loss of 611 megawatts at 2 power stations. In a message to its customers on its Facebook page, the Eco Electricity Distribution Company said, "We regret to inform you of a system collapse in the national grid that's causing outages across our network. So we are working with our TCN partners to restore supply as soon as possible. Please bear with us." Now, also Kaduna Electric said, "We sincerely apologize for the power outage in our franchise states, which is due to a system collapse from the national grid. The supply shall be restored as soon as the grid is back up. We regret any inconvenience this may cause all our customers." So that's the situation with the grid, and of course, like they mentioned, that's going to, as a result, some areas strategically are going to experience a huge amount of blackout. So looking at all this, there's the need for us to take a look at it as this is something in every economy that drives growth and development, talking about consistent power. And that's what is so lacking in this country. And looking at the grid collapsing, like for a while now, there's been collapse of the national grid, especially when we have the Minister of Power every now and then talks a lot about getting power, uninterrupted power supply very soon. You start asking yourself the question, when will this happen? Especially for people like us that are so sick of buying petrol for generators. Right? Start asking yourself the question, when are we going to be beneficiaries of consistent power in this country? Because I think it affects everything, mostly business. That's how every economy thrives, if you understand what I'm talking about. So let's take a listen to another analyst that's specialized in this area as well, and come back to really give our voices and thoughts to it. Let's listen to a public policy analyst. His name is Michael Oluwagbemi, as he actually shares his thoughts as well. Then we'll get right back. All Well, we listen to Michael Oluwagbemi real quick as he gives he shares his thoughts on this matter. Then we'll be back. Stay right there. It's Dialogue on KU92.7 FM. And I'm Benjamin Kadiri.
Yeah, I mean, the system collapse, I believe, was the 8th one this year, and we're just about the middle of the year. As you have mentioned, we had a total of 12 last year. So we are easily on track for anything from 16 to 20 this year if it continues at the same pace. The particular issue that happened in this instance happened within the Abuja Disco level, where a reactor at the switchgear station actually got burned. And as a result of that, that led to system imbalances that eventually led to a system collapse about 48 hours ago. And it took, I believe, almost 13 to 14 hours for power to then be restored across the system, bulk power to be restored across the system. Naturally, the blame game starts almost immediately after any system collapse. But again, we need to interrogate this beyond the blame game. I said on this program before, and I will say it again, that the issues affecting this power sector, the issue affecting the grid are systemic, and they can be tackled if we put our minds to it and we focus on the core areas which I highlighted at the last instance. First and foremost is and will always remain the liquidity of the system that can only be guaranteed by DISCOs being able to collect all the money they are supposed to collect at the distribution level. If you do not pay your power bill and if the cost of power is not recovered, then it will be impossible to invest in the grid. The second thing that need to, which the ability to do that will only be possible when you have achieved 100% metering. There's no reason why any DISCO in Nigeria today is not fully compliant in terms of metering all their customers so that we can get liquidity back into the system. Once that is achieved, then DISCOs can then go about investing in their infrastructure. As of today, there's little or no investment in infrastructure because a lot of the DISCOs are in debt to their neck. They are owing the federal government, they are owing banks. They barely are able to service their debt, and they're even taking money out of the system by paying their managers and management ridiculous sums of money. So even in a scenario where they are not collecting enough, they continue to spend too much on things that do not impact their customers. So it is very important that the NERC steps up the regulation, as I indicated the last time, of DISCOs and ensure that DISCOs invest in their network. To do that, either we have some kind of recapitalization round that requires DISCO to be recapitalized to a certain level so that they can be able to afford capital reinvestment in the infrastructure, in the downstream, because without those investments in the infrastructure in the downstream, the kind of fire incident we had in Abuja Disco will continue to happen. And without the liquidity, they will not be able to invest in their own infrastructure. And lastly is what I just highlighted, that the NERC needs to ensure much more tighter regulation regime. I think the regulation regime today is too, in fact, I would say it's too lax. We understand CCN indicated that one of the DISCOs was cut off completely from the grid, was suspended from the grid, and is on track to be completely dismissed. And two others are already on notice, I believe the Co-DISCO and another one. I think it's high time that the NERC does its job. The NERC needs to read the riot act to these DISCOs, and it needs to go through a recapitalization process of the entire value chain. That said, all of this needs to be put in the context of ensuring that the system is liquid and investments can happen in the system. And the only way to achieve this, we've already said, it has to be regulatory driven, and this is what we need for Nigerians to get power.
Okay, so people looking at possibly what we need for us to get power. I wish some of these people actually, because it seems like they already understand exactly what will give us power better than some people that occupy the offices with the way they sound. But analysis doesn't solve the problem, but at least give us insight into what the realities are. So you just listen to Michael, Mr. Michael there is... he's a public policy analyst, Michael Oluwagbemi. Okay, so If you remember, we've had the Ministry of Power since the inception of this government talk a lot about how it's never going to be a problem. Nigerians will soon start smiling. Nigerians, he promised uninterrupted power supply, and those were some of the things we were looking out for since the inception of this administration. Like, okay, the Minister of Power, Babatunde Fashola, will definitely turn things around, because when we listen to him a series of times, it made it sound as if in no time he will just turn this whole thing around and we start enjoying consistent power. I'd like to take the hands of the clock back into time, the year 2018, sometime in December. Minister of Power, then it was Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, and the federal government. They were seriously heated on social media by Nigerians. Fashola was at a dialogue at the Nextia Power. It was called the Nextia Power Dialogue. It was a dialogue for stakeholders of the power sector. That's December in Abuja. So he told these listeners that there were problems in the power sector, but reminded them that it was not the federal government's problem if the citizens in the country do not have electricity, especially since the sector had been privatized. So he said there are problems without a doubt, and we must deal with them. But let me remind you, all of the assets that the Ministry of Power used to control for power have been sold by the last administration before I came. And so if you don't have power, it is not the government's problem. Let us be honest. Looking at what we have with the collapse every now and then, like in 1 month we've had 2 collapse of the national grid. One starts asking ourselves the question, so all these promises by the Minister of Power about uninterrupted electricity up till this point, how real is it? How realistic are they? So this, coupled with other challenges within the power sector, is now a call for concern. Is this something that will never end? Because for as far back as I can remember, since I was a kid up till now that I've grown, I don't think there's been any time I have known consistent power supply. So this we will be talking about here this morning, the consistent collapse of the power grid. I'm looking at our neighboring countries, our neighbors all around us here in West Africa. Sometimes it's quite shameful when someone arrives from a place like Ghana or Togo and tells you, I've been in Ghana, I've been in Togo for as long as 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, I've not experienced power supply. Start asking yourself the question, what are they doing better than we are doing here that we actually can't sustain power? So those are some of the things that's quite worrisome in this issue of power with us. So that's exactly what we're looking at. You can call in and share your thoughts, what you think. We listen to those 2 analysts that talk about the true situation of the power system in the country. So you can actually throw your thoughts to this one as well. The consistent failure of the national grid. How good is it, or how bad is it for the economy? You too can throw thoughts to it, especially understanding the very fact that power is a driving force for any economic development. If an economy grows rapidly, especially in this artificial intelligence time that we're living in, you cannot do it without power. And of course, when I mean not doing without power, I mean consistent power should be the key and driving force for any economy that wants to grow rapidly in short times. The way this world is right now, the way economies are growing, if we want to keep up, then we have to have a country that has a consistent and uninterrupted power system. Almost everything is digitalized. We live in a digital world right now, and it's too big shameful for us to be running around with lamps and kerosene lamps and candles. So you can share your thoughts to be right here on Dialogue. Before we wrap it up real quick, let me go straight to opening the phone lines. Numbers are 0706 263 9275 and 0903 939-4427. You can also call 0812-178-9154. I'll take those numbers again. Numbers are 0706-263-9275 and 0903-939-4427. And you can also call 0812-178-9154. And send text messages to 0807-400-9076. Text messages to 0807-400-9076. So keep the calls coming in. Hello? Okay, you can call back. And, of course, looking at the consistent failure of the national grid, the collapse, rather, one starts asking the question, where and what are the plans, actually, of the Minister of Power, promising us all this uninterrupted power supply since the inception of this government, and up till this point, seeming like we are not going anywhere in that regard. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Turn down the volume for radio set.
Okay. I've done that now.
Great. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Marvis and I'm calling from Benin City.
All right, Marvis, go ahead.
Yeah, my contribution is that I think it's still with the government. You know, I remember this administration promised us when they were coming in that we are going to have 24 hours. But now it's been 6 years plus and nothing is happening. So they are not being prepared. I think the problem is from the government.
Okay. Thanks for your contribution. Okay. Well, if you say these are things with which these are promises that are consistently made. Just like in road projects, lights is something. Yes, definitely. Any government coming in can promise a Nigerian. If you say I will give you consistent power supply, definitely people probably will have to root for you, because for a long time, for decades, we've been suffering the issue of power in this country. And yes, those are some of the promises made by this administration, most especially from the Minister of Power, talking about Babatunde Rajapaksa. So let's get your thoughts. Hello.
Hello.
Please turn down the volume of your radio set.
I'm calling from Pastor Tomba.
Turn down the volume of your radio set.
Okay, I'm doing that right. Good morning.
Good morning from Pastor Tomba. What's your name?
My name is Ben.
All right, great. Go ahead.
You see, I told my friend that without light, Nigeria will not go anywhere. Let's put it this way. You remember when God created the world, what did he do? God created light before he now saw the beautiful thing that is created.
Let there be light.
There is nobody that can succeed in darkness, no matter how you may brilliant. I'm telling you, immediately we have stable light in Nigeria. Forget about whether government are doing whatever. Things will be right. A lot of companies will come in. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody can succeed in darkness. Nobody.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. Yeah. Hello? 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 Yeah, hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Pastor Joshua. Calling from Okwaga community.
Your name is what? Saturday.
Pastor Joshua.
Pastor Joshua from Okwaga community. Good to have you, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning. One of the problems of Nigerians concerning this power issue that you are talking about, it is insincerity. Like in the power sector now, we have the government, actually, they are not sincere. Because how would you tell me that you are going to give me steady power supply, and after voting you 6 years now, and you are telling me that we will still be hoping and waiting for power supply? It's uncalled for. So insincerity in the part of the government is what has led Nigeria to be this way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that man actually highlighted insecurity being some of the problems why we're not going forward with many of these challenges we've been having over the years. And of course, like I said initially, if you're going to come in as someone to represent the people, you definitely want to make promises of what the people lack. And of course, a typical Nigerian, you tell a typical Nigerian that, hey, I'll give you consistent power supply. He is going to root for you. If you tell me consistent power supply, definitely I'll root for you. And that's possibly what must have earned people the opportunity to be in a position to represent the people. But people being represented right so far in this light of power, and this issue of power in Nigeria, that's what we're looking at. The power grid failure consistently is scary. Are we going to have a system grid collapse? National grid collapse at any time with the way it's looking, and they tell us, hey, the country has to be in blackout for 1 week. So it's worth asking such questions, because if the power grid fails twice in a month, that's a serious matter. Hello.
Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yes, Engineer Uche is my name, and thank you for picking my call.
Engineer Uche, good to have you. It's been a while.
Yes, I'm calling from Chaplain right now. My brother.
Great, go ahead.
Things are definitely this way. Let me give my take on this. Since the inception, independence in Nigeria to date, we have had series of advocacies, series of support in the power sector. Now, let me ask, how many times have we, as a country, had a minister that has a vast knowledge of that word called electricity? How many times have we had a minister? Certainly, I don't think we have had any. And now, in Nigeria, do we even have a database of houses that will eventually consume this power, if there be? No. So, you are planning to give power to a nation like Nigeria. You don't even know the bulk. You don't even know the size of the populace that you are giving this power to. How will it work? Certainly, it cannot work. That is the truth. So in Nigeria, we continue to just plan and plan and plan, forth and back. It will not work, not until with a square peg in a square hole. That is the only way it will work. Let me leave it at that. Thank you very much,
Engineer Uche. Thanks for calling. Okay, sometimes it's only logical to just look at things from that area, especially when there's consistent failure in that area. The past administration tried what they could. Made promises as well to solve the problem. It got to a point, they said privatization of the sector would be the solution. We had privatization of the sector, and now we have a new Minister of Power, since the inception of this administration, actually stepped up sometime in 2018 to tell us, hey, come, why you people are not having light or this light that I promised you people that I wanted to do for you people? It was because those guys before me that were here, before I got here, they are sold most of the facilities. So that's why we are not having consistent light. So how someone said insecurity is the problem. So could that be it? Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. Turn on the volume of the radio set. Have you done that?
From GRA.
Say again.
I'm Mr. Martins from GRA.
Okay, Mr. Martins, you got 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yes. You see, when the government says they want to give you power, they want to give you anything before they get you, they've seen everything is possible that they can. But then they enter there, it's like there's this force. I don't know, there's this force and, the devilish people around, you understand, will not allow them achieve their plan. That's basically what it is.
So you're
if
saying
only one man can just
you're saying just like in the saying that power corrupted a good man. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. It's very possible. Everything we need to move this forward.
Are you telling me
is on ground? You understand? It's on ground. But the moment you end the plans you have and everything you mapped out to help out,
are you saying
will be disorganized? You understand? So this force around, it's only God that will help us. Amen. It's only God that will help us.
Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution. Well, that's exactly the way he's feeling right now. Like, power, you get there and you get power drunk and it corrupts you totally. And you fail to do the things that you promised and could have stood for. All right, wow. We started off our dialogue actually late today because we had to interrupt the normal flow of dialogue to take some guests on the show. But definitely we'll be back here to talk about more tomorrow. And let me quickly take a look at the text portal if I have any of your text messages there before I leave the studio. Okay, in the absence of text messages, I'll say this is the package for today's edition of Dialogue. Tomorrow we'll be right back here to discuss more on these issues as they trailers. Have a wonderful day and make sure your dial stays right here on 92.7. I'm Benjamin Kadiri. At the top of the hour, it'll be time for the news update. I'll see you.
Nigeria's political landscape has evolved over the years, but since 1960, the yearnings of the people have remained the same.
We want problem na light, I don't tire.
There are no jobs in this country.
Someone please to carry 250 million naira, go buy motor. Corruption for this country too much. Our healthcare in Nigeria is really poor. Women are dying at childbirth almost every day.
Join us on the program Dialogue as we focus on Nigeria's political scene. We bring you interviews from political gladiators.
So this wasn't the problem with the governors. It was the corruption in the SS Food account. It was the fact that without any clearance, the federal government dipped their hand in the SS Food account to fund their business. And SS Food account is money you save from the state government and the federal government.
In-depth analysis of policy statements.
Nigeria does have a problem with corruption, and so do many other countries, including developed countries. I don't like the fact that when people mention the name Nigeria, the next thing they say is corruption. This is a country of 170 million people. 99.9% of them are hardworking citizens who just want to get on with their lives, and they want a government that delivers for them.
And voicing your political opinion every weekday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 92.7 KUFM. Dialogue. Your voice counts.
Uncle Dentist, what be cavities and how Colgate take they protect my teeth from cavities? Shey they use Kung Fu?
No dear, na hole for teeth they cause most tooth pain will be cavity. But if you use Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, take brush every day. The confirmed formula could help keep natural calcium inside our teeth. We could protect them from tooth decay.
Time don't reach to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
And the Nigerian Dental Association, they recommend Colgate.
92.7 KUFM.
From Benin City to the world.
This is 92.7 KUFM News.
It's 10 o'clock and this is KFM News Update on the hour. I am Benjamin Kadiri. Edo State government has warned that from the second week of September, those without proof of at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccination will not be allowed access to public places in the state. Governor Godwin Obaseki disclosed this during the flag-off of the second phase of COVID-19 vaccination campaign in Government House, Benin City on Monday. He said the measure is to ensure citizens are protected in the face of the ravaging effect of the Delta variant of the virus. He disclosed that available figures from the state have shown that the major victims of this variant are the non-vaccinated individuals. The 36 states of the Federation have set up a 6-man committee on the Petroleum Industry Act with a mandate to study and draw up amendments to the law. The chairman of Forum of Commissioners of Finance and Benue State Commissioner for Finance, David Olofu, who disclosed this in an interview on Monday, stated that the forum will submit proposed amendments to the act to the steering committee on the PIA set up by President Muhammadu Buhari. Recall that the Petroleum Industry Bill, which was signed into law by the President, has attracted criticism from stakeholders, especially state governors and the oil-bearing communities. The Central Bank of Nigeria has recorded a shortfall of 378.5 billion naira on loan repayment beneficiaries under the Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP, in 6 years between November 2015, when the ABP scheme was introduced, and November 2020. The CBN executed a total of 2.3 million projects under the program and disbursed 497.2 billion naira to farmers. However, data obtained from the CBN's fourth quarter 2020 economic report showed that only 118.7 billion naira had been repaid by the beneficiaries within the review period. President Muhammadu Buhari launched the ABP on November 17, 2015, in a bid to reverse Nigeria's negative balance of payment on food. Beneficiaries of this program include farmers cultivating cereals, cotton, roots, and tubers, sugar canes, tree crops, legumes, tomatoes, and livestock. A River State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has granted an order of interim injunction stopping Uche Secondus from parading himself as the national chairman and member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The order was made following a suit filed against Secondus and the PDP by some members of the party identified as Ibiauchi Alex, Dennis Nna Amadi, Emmanuel Stephen, and Umezirike Onucha. The order, which was granted on Monday by Justice O. Basa, restrained Secondus from attending or presiding over any meeting of the PDP or any committee of the party at ward, local government, or state government. The court also barred Secondus from calling for any ward, local government, or state congress, or setting up committees for such congresses, or participating in any activity of the PDP whatsoever while on suspension as a member of PDP. The court ordered that Secondus would remain suspended pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. And that's KUFM News Update on the hour. I'm Benjamin Kadri. Thanks for listening. Good morning.
Hello, business owners and service providers. Your station of choice, KUFM 92.7 Benin City, is out with another bumper offer. Introducing KU Awoof Market. We are giving huge discounts on adverts at specific times of the day. That means you don't have any reason not to let the world know about your products and services. Cause no matter the size of your pocket, KUFM has got you covered. For inquiries, please call 0703-805-0243 or 0807-401-4147. Hurry now and take advantage of this wonderful offer to advertise your goods and services on KUFM at mouth-watering discounts. KU Awoof Market gives you massive exposure with the station's wide reach across its terrestrial and online platforms at lower rates. KUFM, your business growth partner.
All the programs on KU 92.7 are now open for sponsorship and advert placements. For sponsorship and advert placements, call now for inquiries 070-380-50243 or 080-8877-3644 or visit KUFM Marketing Office located at the top floor of the Enterprise Foundation Building, number 62, Ihama Road, Benin City, Edo State. 92.7 KUFM is your business growth partner.
The big leagues are back, and DSTV is the only place you can watch it all. Enjoy live matches weekly from the best leagues in the world. We're talking the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, the Champions League, not to mention the return of the Europa League. That's Salah, Kane, Haaland, Bruno, Lukaku, Suarez, Messi, and CR7.
Oh my
goodness.
All week, every week.
You're just lost for words.
Nothing beats the unbeatable football on DSTV.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Beautiful advertisement. Thank you. But was he approved by APCON before exposure? APCON? APCON is the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, the federal government advertising regulatory authority that vets and approves all adverts before they are exposed on radio, TV, billboard, any medium. You mean it's the law? Yes, sir. APCON is backed up by the law to vet all adverts to ensure they are not in bad taste. And there's a big penalty for non-compliance. Call me our consultant now. Get your advertisements vetted and approved by APCON before exposure. Call 0909 144 2787 0811 562 4892 or visit www.apcon.gov.ng today for details on APCON offices nationwide.
This world is not my home, I'm just a passing through. My treasures are
Treasured memories of our mom and dad, late Mama Victoria Oluwatola Egwahide and Pa Michael Unhabaho Egwahide, of cherished memories. An idyllic pair you were. We remember you fondly always, and more in this month of August, our departed beloved parents, Mama Victoria Oluwatola Egwahide and Pa Michael Unhabaho Egwahide, for the charming ways you both rode into history and folklore as archetypal parents and humans because of the principles you held and the morals you embodied. We are grateful for the many intrinsic values you instilled in us, your descendants, and all who had the rare fortune to cross your paths. Mom, you constantly emphasize the prudence of mercy and the treasure that is inherent in forgiveness. And Dad, you taught us the courage to be just and the wisdom in tenacity. You stressed success as specific sense of mission and constantly learning to improve one's self. As we celebrate your lives again this August 2021, it is sweet and fitting to know that you were both sleeping side by side after sharing such an amazing love and life experience on earth. You are also now spending eternity together, hand in hand, and watching over your loved ones, your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchild here on God's earth. Rest on, Papa. Sleep well, Mama. Until we meet to part no more. Signed, Prince Biodun Egwahide, MCSN and AVRS, Edo and Delta States Coordinator.
the angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 600 billion, and the last kobo. Oh yes, we follow the money. It's all about the business and the business of business. The gains and the losses, the bulls and bears, the rise and falls, the risk and the satisfaction of seeing the last kobo rise to millions. On KUFM's Business News, the simple and complex jargons of business just make sense. Get the trending news on the money market, forecast, investment opportunities, policy changes, and other breakout information on the ever-busy world of business. KU Business News, Monday to Friday on our news dawn, 6:30 to 7 a.m.
You're welcome to Faith to Faith broadcast with Pastor T.B. Peters. Enjoy the dynamic teaching, preaching, and miracle ministry of Pastor T.B. Peters, the president and pioneer of Renaissance Assembly. This message will take you from where you are to where you ought to be. Get ready for transformations.
You see, for you to come to the place of consciousness, consciousness is in degrees. Some of us are more conscious than some of us. Amen. In certain areas. Consciousness is also another way of saying it, is to be awakened to something. Hallelujah. I want you to be awakened to the blessing. Amen. To be awakened to that you are blessed. The patriarchs in Bible days, you see the way they functioned. I'm talking about Abraham and Isaac and Noah and the rest of them. You will know that they carried a blessing consciousness. Abraham believed God and it was counted unto him for righteousness. Now, he believed God. He trusted God. Okay. But you look at Abraham's life, you find that he walked and talked like a man that was blessed. Praise God. If you are not blessed, can you call somebody and say, let me bless you? Amen. Amen. You know, are you getting what I'm saying? Can you say, let me bless you? For you to be telling somebody, come, let me bless you, it means you carry a consciousness of blessing. Do you know that when Jacob went to Egypt, imagine a man that hunger wanted to kill them where they were, and they had to, for survival, they had to move because of the famine into Egypt. Is it not supposed to be like subservient maybe to Pharaoh and say, your boy is here or your boy is here? No. When he arrived there, he said, Pharaoh, let me bless you. He blessed Pharaoh. Meaning that he carried a consciousness of blessing. Amen. He came. He's the one that came as visitor. He's blessing Pharaoh. Pharaoh is sustaining him, but he's blessing Pharaoh. Am I communicating? Abraham carried that same consciousness. We see in Genesis, I believe it was in the 14th chapter, when he came from the slaughter of the kings after Melchizedek. I'm not sure if it's 21, 23. You know, when he came from the slaughter of the kings, what did he do? They were about to share the spoils of war with him. They said, since you rescued us, you rescued Sodom and us from Sodom and Gomorrah, take all these things and give us anything. He said, I will not take a shoelace from you, amen, lest you will say, I have made Abraham rich. Who talks like that? Meaning he carried with him a consciousness of blessing. See, the thing the consciousness affects, the consciousness of blessing affects how you talk. It also affects how you act. You want to know how influenced you have become with that consciousness of blessing? Watch your behavior. So you see that Abraham acted like someone that understood. Why will Isaac stay in a land that was in famine? Because God spoke to him. That's blessing. That's consciousness of blessing. You're going to start a business. How are you starting it? Are you starting a business like someone that understands that you are blessed? It's like someone that understands they are blessed. Or you're still carrying with you a consciousness of, I don't know, whatever will be, will be. Whatever will be is not a blessing consciousness. Amen. The blessing makes you sure about the outcome. Amen. Am I communicating? Regardless of the experience, you are sure about the outcome. Am I communicating? You will say it will work.